Let me ask you something. When you were growing up, did anyone sit you down and say, "Hey, here's how to have a healthy relationship"? Did a teacher walk into class one day with a lesson plan on how to communicate with your partner? Did your parents hand you a guide on how to pick the right person? Did anyone at all, actually teach you how to love well? No, me neither. And yet, we expect people to somehow figure it out. We expect adults to magically know how to build something deeply complex, something that affects their happiness, their health, their entire life with zero training. That's like handing someone the keys to a car and saying, "Good luck, figure it out." No lessons, no practice, just go. And then we're surprised when there are crashes. Today I want to talk about why relationship education is one of the most overlooked, undervalued, and urgently needed things in modern life, and what we can actually do about it. Here's something interesting. If I asked you right now, what does a healthy relationship look like? Most of you could answer that. You'd say things like trust, respect, open communication, emotional safety, feeling valued. You'd be right. Those are the hallmarks of healthy relationships. Research absolutely confirms it. And if I asked you what an unhealthy relationship looks like, you'd know that too. Constant conflict, emotional withdrawal, contempt, control, criticism that tears people down instead of building them up. So we know what good looks like. We know what bad looks like. But here's the gap, the massive, painful gap that no one talks about. Knowing what a healthy relationship looks like is completely different from knowing how to build one. It's like knowing what a gourmet meal looks like versus knowing how to cook one. Recognizing the dish doesn't mean you can make it. And this gap costs us. It costs us in broken relationships, in loneliness, in mental health struggles, in children who grow up watching unhealthy patterns and repeating them. The consequences are real, and they are serious. So what do we do about it? Traditionally, we've had two answers, and neither one is good enough. The first answer is couples therapy. Couples therapy is valuable. It helps many people. But think about when people usually seek it, when things have already broken down, when patterns are so deep and so ingrained that change feels nearly impossible, when one or both people are already halfway out the door. That's not education. That's emergency response. The second answer is premarital counseling. Better timing, right? People are happy, they're in love, they're motivated to make it work. And research shows it can be effective. But there's a fundamental problem. By the time you're doing premarital counseling, you've already chosen your partner. You've already made the most consequential relationship decision of your life. And if the foundation of that choice was shaky, if you were drawn together for the wrong reasons, if you never learned to recognize red flags, if you didn't understand your own needs clearly enough to know whether this person could meet them, no amount of communication workshops will fix that. We're treating the symptom, not the cause. What we need is something different. We need to start earlier, much earlier. So what would it actually look like to teach people, especially young people, how to navigate relationships well? Researchers who study this have pointed to three core skill areas that show up again and again across the literature. I call them the three pillars of relational intelligence: self-awareness, mutual respect, and emotional regulation. Let's break each one down. Pillar 1, self-awareness. Self-awareness is knowing yourself, your needs, your patterns, your triggers, your non-negotiables. This sounds simple. It is not. Most people walk into relationships with almost no clarity about what they actually need. They know what they want in the moment: attraction, excitement, attention. But want and need are different things. Someone with strong self-awareness asks, what kind of relationship structure works for me? What does feeling loved actually look like for me? What are my deal breakers? Not the ones I think I should have, but the ones that genuinely matter to me. And when I act out in a relationship, what's really driving that behavior? That last question is huge. So much of relationship conflict is actually displaced stress or fear or unmet needs that have nothing to do with the partner. Self-awareness lets you see that. It lets you say, wait, I'm not actually upset about the dishes in the sink. I'm overwhelmed and I'm taking it out on the person nearest to me. That kind of clarity changes everything. Mutual respect is the recognition that both people in a relationship have needs and that both sets of needs matter equally. This sounds obvious, but watch how people actually behave in relationships and you'll see how often it breaks down. Some people are so focused on their own needs that their partner's needs barely register. Others are so focused on their partner's needs, often out of fear or insecurity, that they completely abandon their own. Neither extreme leads anywhere good. True mutuality means you can ask for what you need, directly, clearly, without manipulation or guilt. And it means you can genuinely show up for your partner's needs without feeling like you're losing yourself. It also means that when big decisions come up, a career change, a move, a shift in how you spend your time, you factor both people into the equation. Not just tolerating each other's needs, but honoring them as legitimate. Relationships built on mutual respect don't require one person to constantly sacrifice while the other takes. They require two people who are genuinely interested in each other's well-being. Emotional regulation might be the most underrated relationship skill there is. It doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It means being able to feel strong emotions without being controlled by them. Because here's the truth, relationships generate intense emotions. Love, fear, jealousy, grief, anger, longing. These are powerful forces. And when we're flooded by them, our decision-making collapses. We say things we don't mean. We make impulsive choices we regret. We blow small problems into catastrophes. Emotional regulation is what keeps you from sending that text at 2 a.m. that you will absolutely regret. It's what allows you to pause before responding to something that hurt you, so you can respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. It's what lets you sit with the discomfort of a hard conversation instead of running from it or escalating it. And critically, emotional regulation is what allows you to hold on to yourself even when a relationship ends. To feel the grief without losing your sense of self-worth. To know that your value isn't determined by whether one person chose to stay. Now here is where I want to really challenge the way most people think about this. These skills, self-awareness, mutual respect, emotional regulation. Most people assume these are things you learn from relationships, that you develop them through experience, through heartbreak, through the school of hard knocks. And yes, life experience can teach you, but it's slow, it's painful, and it often comes with serious costs. And it doesn't have to be the only way. Research on adolescents, teenagers who are just beginning to navigate their first romantic experiences, shows something remarkable. Those who have developed these skills early show measurably better outcomes. Even at 13 and 14 years old, before many of them are even in real relationships, teenagers with stronger relational skills show greater emotional security, better mental health, healthier relationship behaviors, and a clearer sense of their own values and limits. Think about what that means. The seeds of healthy adult relationships are planted early, long before anyone says, "I love you," long before there's a wedding or a breakup or a custody battle. And if the seeds are planted well, with intention, with guidance, with actual skills, the harvest looks different. This is not about telling teenagers who to date or how fast to move. It's about giving young people a vocabulary for their own emotional world. It's about helping them understand their patterns before those patterns become problems. It's about teaching them that they deserve relationships that feel good, and that they have some agency in making that happen. Let me bring this out of the abstract for a second with a scenario many of you will recognize. Imagine someone, let's call her Maya, who has been with her partner for 2 years. She's been feeling disconnected lately, like something is off, but she can't quite name it. When her partner asks if she's okay, she says, "I'm fine." She isn't fine. She doesn't want to seem needy. She doesn't want to start a fight. She doesn't want to say the wrong thing and make it worse. So she says nothing. He moves on. She stews. Over weeks, the distance grows. He senses her coldness and pulls back. She interprets his pullback as him not caring. They stop talking about anything real. The relationship slowly hollows out. Now replay that same scenario with the 3 skills in play. Self-awareness tells Maya that she is feeling disconnected and that she's been here before in past relationships when she felt unappreciated. She knows this is real, not imagined. Emotional regulation helps her manage the anxiety around bringing it up, so she doesn't either explode or shut down. She can feel the discomfort and still have the conversation. And mutual respect gives her the language and the belief that her needs are worth naming. She says to her partner, I've been feeling a little far from you lately, and I'd really like us to carve out some time just for us. Can we plan something this week? That's it. That's the whole shift. Not a dramatic confrontation, not a therapy session. Just a person who knows herself, manages her emotions, and believes her needs matter enough to say them out loud. That is a learnable skill, and it can be taught. We invest enormous resources into teaching people how to manage their careers, their finances, their physical health. We have entire systems built around giving people the skills they need to succeed in the professional world. But relationships? The thing that research consistently identifies as one of the strongest predictors of human happiness and health? We leave that to chance. We wait until things break, and then we wonder why they're so hard to fix. I believe we need a different approach, one that starts earlier, one that's rooted in real skills, not just feel-good advice, one that treats relational intelligence as something that can be built, not just hoped for. Because here's what I know. Healthy relationships don't happen by accident. They are built, day by day, decision by decision, by two people who have the awareness to know themselves, the respect to honor each other, and the emotional tools to navigate the hard moments without burning everything down. Those skills can be taught. They should be taught. And the earlier we start, the better the outcomes. For individuals, for couples, for families, for communities. We deserve relationships that actually work. Not perfect relationships, no such thing exists. But real ones, honest ones, ones where we feel seen and safe and valued. And we can get there. But first, we have to decide that learning how to love well is worth the effort. I think it is. I hope you do too. Thank you.